Hi, good evening everyone. I'm Dr. Priyasha. We're here today to talk about the unprecedented times that we are in. Most of us are fearful of the word COVID-19 or coronavirus. It has a stigma around it. I've personally experienced this because I was quarantined for about 14 days. I saw my parents worried, fear in my dad's eyes. I woke up every morning with a knock on my door asking me if I was okay, if I had any new symptoms. So I understand where this fear is coming from for most of us. So here we are today to seek expertise and guidance from a highly knowledgeable, intellectual, spiritual, and an amazing human being. What makes him amazing is not the number of degrees that he has after his name, but the fact that the kind of human he is. He believes in treating the mind, body, and spirit as one entity. We welcome you, Dr. Dominic. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Priyasha. I think thank you for the generous introduction that you've given. Also, I want to thank the boys who set up all this and the Baptists to do the live streaming. And I just want to thank everybody who's come in, joining us live or going to join us live. And Dr. Priyasha, sorry to hear that you had to go through the quarantine and the apprehensions, the fear that your parents have to go through. And it's one of those times where things have gone totally off the rails and the world has gone topsy-turvy, and people are doing things which are unthinkable. In fact, we are wearing a mask and we're just on our own and there's only one cameraman. That's the reason we took the mask out. It's a new normal that we're getting used to. Of course, COVID-19, as you mentioned, comes with a lot of fear and trepidations. These fears are not unfounded. These fears are real. People are worried about what's going to happen. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a thing, and good that you're well and your parents must be relieved by it.
Yeah, thank you. We've been under quarantine since March 25th of this year, and now that lockdown has very much eased, this is a time our viewers need right advice and assurance to deal with this situation.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, amazing how people manage to stay with the lockdown and things like that. So let me get the narrative from the time the lockdown happened. When lockdown happened, suddenly world changed for a lot of people. Suddenly they realized that nobody can get their medications, they can't see the doctor, the sleep habits changed, the eating habits changed, people could not come out of the house. A lot of them are dependent on the children to help them with groceries or getting things done. So a lot of things changed, and what has happened during the time is also a lot of information about, that if you're of a certain age you will die, if you have a certain medical conditions you will die. The news media, of course, want to give information, but in the process they did give them a lot of fear and a lot of panic and a lot of trepidations. So a lot of them are not come out of it. A lot of them are still going through it. But yes, as you rightly mentioned, that the lockdown is eased. For a lot of people, they're venturing out for the first time, maybe to the beauty parlor. I don't know if the beauty parlors are open, or to the grocery shop and things like that. But I just want to tell you what's going on. I think the numbers in India is still on the rise, and we are nowhere on the top of Corona. Okay, so I think this is a time to exercise caution, because when I was driving to Baptist this morning, I see a lot of people. There was no physical distancing. There was no wearing a mask. People were just sort of taking it easy. I think people realize that, lockdown is over, Corona is gone. I think that sort of attitude is setting in. So I think I would be extremely careful. What is that you need to know? If you have to visit a hospital, only it's a must, you please do it. If not, you can always come through e-consultation, through other channels that you can access. You can send mails to us. And also, this is the time you've got to be extremely careful, Dr. Priyasha, that not to take it easy.
Yeah, I hope our viewers are listening to this and catching some tips. So, we've had many pandemics in the past, like swine flu, bird flu, cholera, and they've all had very high mortality rates. What makes COVID-19 different? Why are people so fearful about it? Or is it just the media and the social media that has hyped it up as much?
Well, I think it's a novel coronavirus. That means we don't know much about this. It's a newcomer. It's a new boy in town. What caused so much of fear and anxiety is this. When it first came out in China, not many people were taking much notice of it. everything changed when Italy started showing up these pictures of people going down and things like that. That's when the real fear and panic gripped in, and every country after another country started locking down. And for a lot of older people, suddenly the world locked down. They were not prepared. They didn't know how to get the groceries without the help of the children, or they didn't know how to get the medicines from the thing. And also suddenly they realized that they cut off, and you may be living in Banashankari, and your parents may be living in RT Nagar. It's not very far away, but the lockdowns, they just can't come and meet. So suddenly the world has changed overnight, and it's the acuteness of the shutdown that has made them to go so crazy and things like that. And also, what do you do when you're fearful? You want to know more about it. So they glued onto the TV, social media, WhatsApp. It's all about fear. But yes, we have gone through worse than this. We've gone through this Spanish flu, 13 million people who died. Cholera, but we know who cholera is, what's its behavior is, what's the pattern of it. But this is a new novel virus which we are not sure about. And also we were learning during the process of the disease process. So we were not sure. So people were giving all sorts of information and nothing was clear. And what disturbs humans is uncertainty, not knowing what to do, and not clear. And also same with doctors. We're all learning as things went on. We have no clue how is it going to present. So initially they said it's all about chest symptoms, but we know that a lot of people will come with loss of taste, loss of smell, and they can come with a lot of different symptoms. So I think we have learned this acuteness of it, and also gripped by media, sudden change of the world going topsy-turvy for them. They were not prepared, they were not able to count, and even before Corona, a lot of people were not keeping very good steadfast relationship with the neighbor. Suddenly you don't know who the neighbor was, so suddenly you felt that you're isolated in your own world.
So we shouldn't completely go by the media?
Well, media is there to give opinions, and many times you have to search for the needle of truth in the haystack of opinions. So if it's not lies, it's opinion. I mean, we don't want opinion, we want the facts. So I think if anybody is watching, they want to know what about coronavirus, read mayoclinic.com, John Hopkins, WHO, CDC, also Indian website of Health and Family Welfare website, where they give you proper information which is validated and vetted by people in the right profession. So they give you what is needed. So I think we need to give information, but we should not make them to panic, and also we should tell them, put them into context. If India has got 100,000 cases, it's for 1.3 billion. That's minuscule. You know what I mean? But if you highlight that, you've seen in the television all the numbers screening 10 COVID patients. Also the media spinning the story that if you are above 60, you will catch corona. You know what? Not necessarily. But I think that's what is causing thing. Yeah.
So I think what our viewers would also like to know is, you as a son, as a father, as a husband, as a colleague, must have faced certain challenges of your own at home and at work. So how did you deal with it? Have you with your inner peace, have you made peace with it, or are you still in the process of it?
Well, we all went through the process of fear, trepidations, apprehensions. I remember in March, suddenly we were all felt absolutely naked and exposed because we didn't have the PPEs. The PPE was the talk of the town, everybody's talking PPEs. We managed to stitch the PPEs. We were talking about, a lot of people in our group were talking, are we going to get through COVID? What's going to happen? What will be the mortality rate among doctors? So we were exposed. For us, a lot of doctors and a lot of professionals, FEAR stood for forget everything and run. Just run away. My God, I don't want to be in this crisis. But as we came through March and April, fear changed from forget everything to run, from false evidence appearing. Now we suddenly thought, this country is getting over it. South Korea managed to buck the trend, but just for it to come back again. So fear became false evidence appearing real. We're going to manage that. Coronavirus threw us a lot of googlies and a lot of things that was totally surprised us. We started getting younger people getting affected. In some countries, young people died in a good number compared to older people. In South Korea, just 0.8% of the people died. So I think things change. But now, what is fear for me? It's face everything and rise. We're going to be there. Corona is going to be our friend. friend or a foe, how you want to like it, they're going to be there. We got to be with them, and we have to learn. Human beings are amazingly ingenious. They can improvise. They can modify. They can adapt. That's why we are human beings. In spite of all the storms and the wars, everything, we come through it.
But we don't like change as much.
We don't like change. But the only thing that is constant in life is change. But we have to go through this change. I don't know whether you realized what Queen said and Dr. Tidor, who's a head of WHO, said. This is like dealing with Second World War. What was this about Second World War? Why did they compare to Second World War? Why not First World War? In Second World War, suddenly Europe had an existential crisis. Are we going to exist? That's what a lot of my colleagues said. Are we going to exist? They are talking about transcendence. Are we going to make it? So I think this is what it is. So that's what shocked everybody. Suddenly, human beings realize that they're vulnerable. The mortality is real. We can all catch COVID-19, and in spite of having the things, medical thing, we don't know what medicines to give. It is that unknown, uncertainty of unknown that cause more anxiety and depressions. But now we are settled. Corona is going to be there. Yes, as a father, I want to make sure that I won't infect my children and my wife. And as a son, I don't want, when I go meet my mom, we have to make sure that there's no infection. We change out to scrubs. We're wearing masks. That's a new normal. If I don't have a mask, I feel naked that I'm not there. And we make sure that we get into all hygiene process. All of us are very clear that we can't even drop the guard down even for a single moment. We don't know who's walking in, because Corona can manifest in so many ways and subtle ways. And a lot of them, the surprising thing, Dr. Priyasha, is that a lot of them are just absolutely asymptomatic. They don't even know. We don't even know. They're just coming as a normal cold or not feeling right, and they may be COVID-19. So I think we just need to be on the guard. But I think as we grow, we learn. Necessity is the mother of invention. We will adapt. We will learn. And I think the most important thing I want to tell the people who are watching is make the virtue out of necessity. This is a virtue. There are a lot of good things that came out of COVID-19. A lot of older people become very tech neutral, if not tech savvy. They were tech phobic. They started connecting with people. A lot of people realized the relationship was so very important. They started connecting with people. A lot of people started talking to one another. There was a family dinner, family lunch coming together. So, and also there was a domestic reboot at home. A lot of men started doing some cleaning at home and things like that. And a lot of people said that my husband started cooking, because so a lot of good things have come out of it. Well, of course, there are a lot of things that was not so good, but I think we need to look at the good things and take it forward. I think Corona is going to stay. That's the way it's going to be.
Okay, moving on. We have a question from Mr. Davidson. Hi, Dr. Dominic. What's your advice for elderly people on the current COVID situation?
Well, what's your advice? If you can stay at home, please stay at home. The most important thing that you need to do is to get into a routine. Get up in the morning, don't be in a pajamas or your nighties, change over, do the normal things that you do, dress up and do the normal things like, come and have breakfast. If you want to talk to your friend at 10 o'clock, you normally have a coffee with your friend, make a coffee, call your friend at 10 o'clock, say that we'll have a chat over the phone and drink coffee together. You need to improvise with what you have, and then also make sure that you don't feed too much of news, either through newspaper or through television for your thing. Keep a time for your walking, time for meditation, learn some new things, and try to improvise with what you have. I don't know what the situation is, but keep it positive, talk to your friends, connect with your neighbors. There are a lot of local groups that are sprung up which are sort of connecting with one another, helping one another in the groceries, just saying hello to one another, checking on one another. So a lot of things that's going on. I think you just need to seek out and reach out to people. And also now you can reach doctors through e-consultation, connect with them through the mail, and keep one of the things that happened during acute COVID early March, April is that your food habits changed, your sleeping habits changed, blood sugars went all over the place, your blood pressure was all over the place, you were munching when you're watching TV, because when you're anxious, a lot of people eat more and they eat junk. So I think what happened is that a lot of things went upside down. So I think you just need to get the balance right. COVID is going to stay with us. You just need to improvise. And if you have to walk in a time when nobody's around, make the physical distancing part, connect to friends, make some new friends, and learn something new. Maybe get back to knitting what you used to do. Or read the old books that you've seen. Not take back your old album and have a look at it.
A colleague of mine, sorry I cut you off, but a colleague of mine said that she wants different, like she wants to find some new ways of entertainment because her parents are so glued on to the technology
Yeah.
that they're always on their phone, they don't talk to each other, or maybe they just want something else, some other means of entertainment.
Yeah.
So she's like, please ask him if there's something that he can suggest.
Well, I think I just learned about Ludo. That's a good one. You can play other games. Uno.
I think my dad's a champion at Ludo now.
Oh, there we are. Okay, so I think it's so you can learn some new games, and also see one of the things that has caused a lot of disharmony is that a lot of relationship was vapid, and the relationship was dull. And what has happened suddenly? This COVID put them together in a confined environment. They had no choice. They didn't have the natural outlets. Like the men used to watch the cricket or the football, or used to go out to town, do some errands, but the ladies used to go for shopping and do those things. That's all cut off. Suddenly then people are rubbing on one another's toes. So what's happened is suddenly the spikes that were buffers that were keeping the spikes away, suddenly they were together like porcupines, they started poking one. You just need to realize that you are together, you just need to help one another. I think one of the things that the COVID-19 has proved very clearly, Dr. Priyasha, is that amazingly they learned how to come on the Zoom, how to come out, do the connection, FaceTime. So a lot of things they learned. But I would tell to your friend that tell them that they need to get off the news. I think that's the most important thing. Keep it to as base minimum as possible. Not to feed too much of news. It makes them very anxious, and it doesn't help them at all.
Talking about staying connected with people, I think a few of the older people are technologically challenged.
Yeah.
And their children are probably working or studying abroad. How do they cope with this?
How do they cope with this? But children can always connect to the parents through the phone. What I would tell the children is that talk to them for a longer time. Talk to them about the real fears. Tell them, Dad, Mom, even we have fears and trepidations, but we'll get through this. But what you see in the news is not contextualized. It's not put in the proper perspective. So normally it's all sort of blown out of proportion. So they can work with regular phone calls, checking how they are. Did you eat? Did you take enough water? How was your day today? What is the new you did? So they could do in the four walls a lot of new things. They could start painting, they could read a book, or they could learn new things about meditation, or they can walk 5 minutes every 1 hour at home in the space that they have, So a lot of things can change, but I think you should have a mind to change, only then.
So that I think the children should make more effort with their.
More effort. I think I would say if you were to be a child, just call your parents, talk to them for a longer time. Address the fears, tell them that what you see in TV is not what's going to happen to all of you. A lot of my patients were worried, who's going to bring us to the hospital? If I come to Baptist, will they treat COVID patients? Will I be sent to Victoria Hospital? Now, nobody can come. My son is in America, he can come, but there's lockdown, he can't think. These are real. But look, but you need to reach out to your local neighborhood. A lot of people are trying to connect and help one another. Your symptoms, a lot of them say that just because of a headache and a fever, they call me and say, is it COVID? No, it is not COVID. COVID is one of the many viruses that we have which causes symptoms of viral. So I think, but yes, in this uncertain times, anxious times, people are always worried about, is it COVID and things like that. So I think, but children, one is that talking to them regularly, asking them how you are, and telling your parents, look, you've gone through the war, you've gone through the ups and downs of life, you've gone through curfews if you were to be in parts of India. It's not that these challenges are no, but you need to reinforce them that you come through all this. You come through the rough and tumble. You're taken the spears and the arrows. You didn't come here. So tell your mom and dad, you will get through this. You have the grit and the determination to do it. You have the energy to do it. So you just need to, and also tell them that you count the blessings. You're in Bangalore. You have access to healthcare. You can speak English. You can connect with people.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that you can look at positively. So that's what I would advise the parents, children to talk to the parents and encourage them and put them in real context, not to tell anything fairy stuff.
Yeah.
Tell them what you have, how can they contribute. Talk to them regularly. I think that's very important. Just listen to them. That's very therapeutic. Just listening to them.
Do that.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay. So, loneliness, depression, and anxiety has always been a challenge all across. Yeah. Individuals living alone or with their family do go through this. They are affected by it to a greater extent. I personally have seen this in my family because my sister is very anxious. She wakes up, she's worried about her child, she's worried about me coming back from work, she's worried about my parents. So there's nothing I've said to her that's calmed her down or made her feel okay. I mean, I might have said a lot of things, but she's always anxious. She's always like, what's going to happen? Where's this going to take us? Is there something that you can say?
Well, I think loneliness, anxiety, and depression are three musketeers. They go together. The hardest thing is loneliness. A lot of people are lonely because they are not. People living alone are not lonely. People may be living in a joint family, they can still be lonely. Loneliness is a major problem. Even before COVID, the COVID has brought loneliness to a very sharp focus and highlighted what loneliness can bring. Loneliness is horrible. Every human heart longs to belong. That's the way God has created us. The sense of belonging, the sense of social connection is what makes us human. And once that is taken out, they feel absolutely deprived of love. They don't feel valued and valuable. Anxiety is a very is one of those things that sort of magnifies when you're lonely, and especially when an older person has got multiple illnesses, they become extremely fearful. And anxiety does two things. One, it magnifies the uncertainty. Suppose, say, your sister is worried that what will happen to you. Just because she'll say, oh my God, my sister is going to hospital, she's going to see COVID patients. She's already sort of taken things further. And that COVID patient is going to come and only meet you, and that COVID patient is going to give the COVID to you, in spite of you wearing all the masks and the PPEs that we enforce that strictly that we are. So you need to tell her, look, I've taken all precautions to mitigate it. Okay, in spite of all that, if I get it, I get it.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it. Okay, and also so it magnifies the uncertainty and minimizes the capability. What is the capability? A lot of people say that, okay, what if it happens? You've done that before. You've gone through a difficult time, much worse than COVID, or maybe not as global as COVID, but in your own life you'd have had situations where you had to really get your grit and determination and your spirits together to get through. So I think you just need to tell them, look, we are doing everything that we can, but you becoming anxious does not help. One of the things I want to tell you is this, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking only about the body. We are not talking about the mind and the spirit. Mind, body, spirit is well connected. Okay, and if your spirits are down, if you're anxious, you are not helping yourself at all. You're making it worse for yourself, because when you're anxious, when you're down, your immunity is down. So if at all you get exposed, you're more likely to catch a bug. If I were to be you, I would keep my spirits up. I would listen to music. I would listen to things that makes me happy. I would not talk about COVID to people. I would talk about a lot of other good things that's happening around. So you may say COVID has brought a lot of things. COVID has brought Mother Nature a lot of good. The COVID has brought petrol prices down. COVID has brought relationship together. COVID has brought a lot of people who understand to pause and to reflect. COVID has brought a lot of existential questions to people, asking, why am I here? What's life? What are we going to do? And they also realize the brevity of life and the acuteness of mortality and the vulnerability they went through. So COVID has done a lot of good things. But I think most important thing, if I were to be you, is that keep yourself well, drink well, eat well, keep your mind well. This more than this pandemic, we are worried about mental pandemic, which is going to affect a lot of people, including the doctors. So I think keep yourself, take a multivitamin, keep yourself cheerful, and that will keep your spirit strong and your immunity strong. Let me say this very important thing for you. I want you to note this. We are the most advanced creatures on the face of the earth, and our immune system is absolutely advanced, and it's brilliant. And our immune system can cope, can adapt. It's just a matter of time. We will all get herd immunity and we'll manage, and vaccines will be there. But it's just in the interim, we need to know how to manage it. But once you keep your immunity up, and you follow the necessary physical distancing, I didn't use the word social distancing, it's physical distancing, and keep the right nutrition, keep a balance about day and night, your mental health, the sleep-wake cycle, eat on time, and dress up in the morning, go through the normal routine, only come to your bedroom, it's time to bed. Then you can pass through this. It is difficult, but look, it's here to stay. We have to adapt, we have to change, and make the virtue of necessity that you're in,
So we have another question from Ms. Soumya Ranjit. She's asking, hi doc, may I know the administration of pneumococcal vaccine in advance helps to reduce the intensity of the disease?
Ms. Soumya, thank you for asking this question. A lot of people have sort of mentioned this question. Now, does pneumococcal vaccine reduce the intensity of COVID disease? Is that what you mean? I assume that that's what you mean. No, it does not. Pneumococcal vaccine is to prevent you from getting a pneumococcal disease. So that's the answer to your question. But vaccinating people, especially older people, is a very good thing. That we do it once. There are different types of pneumococcal vaccines. But I think the straight answer to your question is pneumococcal vaccine does not reduce the intensity of the disease as we know as of today, the knowledge that we have today. Yeah. Yes, Dr.
So in the same context, we as doctors, we are advising our patients to, okay, I think I'll take that question, sorry. We have a question from Joy MS Mutiala. He's asking, good evening doctor, can my parents aged 87 and 77 have visitors and can they go visiting relatives within the city?
Well, Joy, thanks for asking that question. And it's a question a lot of people ask, and it's a very difficult question in a way. Now, if they have to visit somebody, yes, you can go in your own car, wear the mask, make sure that you follow the hand hygiene, and follow the physical distancing and meet them and come back. Now, is it for just for chit chat and have a good natter? Not really. I would not recommend, because there are a lot of people around who are still catching a bug. They have a bug and they're not aware of that bug. So if they have to visit, well, you have to visit, but it should be that you take them in the car, go to a certain destination, meet them, keep a physical distance and come back. But I think they should be masked. They should have a hand hygiene and things like that. So that must be something that you need to follow.
Okay, so thank you, sir. We have another question from Amitava Bhattacharji. So, Papa, that is Bimalendu, he's oblivious to Corona. For a month or so, we panicked more due to the confusion all around. Have now accepted, have to live with it. Only apart from hygiene and distancing, any natural immunity booster we can safely add to our daily routine.
Amitabha, hi, I know you personally, so I could say hi to you and say hi to Dad. Now, I think in a way, serendipitously, he's fortunate that he was not aware of all the panic that you went through. But is there a natural immunity booster that will make it improve? No. Only thing is keep the multivitamin that will help your immunity, especially the zinc, the selenium, the cadmium. Any one multivitamin is good enough. But the most important thing is eat appropriate food, nutritious food, drink good amount of water, rest, and have a good sleep. Look, let me say this to you. One of the things COVID has done is people are watching late night Amazon Prime movies or Netflix movies. Your sleep is the most important thing. God created sleep as a panacea. So have a good sleep. And that will really do a lot good for your immunity. So just say hi to Dad, Amitava, and I think there are no specific immune boosters, but we know that multivitamins help them in boosting the immunity. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question by Ruby Pramila Rajamani. She says, hi doc, would you let us know what would help improve our immunity? Any specific supplement that would help us in these days?
Hi madam, since I know you personally, I could say hi to you. It's good to hear from you. I hope you're keeping well. Anything personally to improve immunity? As I just answered to Bimalanda's question, that just take a multivitamin with the zinc and selenium and all the vitamin B1, B2, B6, which helps in the process of immunity. I think that's all it is. There's no specific medicines that or a specific multivitamin that helps in immunity. That most of the good multivitamins have the combination that you need. I think that's where it is. But I think again I want to reinforce the fact the health is made up of 7 components: physical, mental, social, spiritual, psychological, cultural, environmental. We're only talking about physical. We forgot the big element, that is emotional, psychological, spiritual. This we know by studies. Before even COVID-19, it really builds immunity and keeps it strong. I think if I were to be the person who's worried about it, I'll eat well, eat on time, sleep well, have a bit more sleep. If you can have a lion, I can't have a lion, you can have a lion. Make sure that you exercise, you walk around, do the meditation, and make sure that you take your one multivitamin is good enough. But you make sure that your food is balanced. I think that's the most important thing.
We have another question by Carolyn George. This was actually question from me as well. So, what are the red flags? When should we think of bringing elderly patients to the hospital? Can they self-assess themselves at home?
Sure, I think that's a very good question, Dr. Priyasha. Caroline, I think I'll just answer both of your questions together. Now, what are the red flags? I presume that you're asking these questions in context of COVID-19?
No, I think they are asking in context of COVID-19, but I'm saying in general, like they are suffering with other diseases as well. It's not just COVID-19. So.
Well, I think a lot of older people will have multiple chronic diseases. If you feel that your chronic diseases are not managed well, your blood sugars, a lot of them are not checking blood sugars because they have no access to check blood sugars, and they're also eating more than what you should because fear and panic makes you to eat more. That's one of the sort of alibi that you go on to. So check your zinc if it's there. If it's very high, one of the most important thing that you and I, all of us can do is keep our body at optimum health and also managing all the chronic long-term disease being diabetes, hypertension, heart thing. So if you need to come in, you please come in if it's very high. The best way is before you come in, you reach out to the doctor either through the mail or a phone, if you can reach the doctors, or through e-consultation and ask his advice. If he says come in, just come in. You tell him give me a prescribed time to come, so where there is physical distancing when we come to my clinic here, and make sure that we see them at a particular time, so they need to wait. They can walk into the clinic and see. We can do those things. If you find that you're not well with your chronic disease and you have gone through it, you know when you become breathless and things like that, please come to the hospital. Don't wait because it is COVID. But be mindful about it, check it out and then come in. With regard to COVID-19, there are a lot of symptoms. If you have a fever, if you have these three things, high grade fever, with a cough, okay, with respiratory symptoms, especially with breathlessness, you please check it out. Yeah, but a lot of things can give that because in the environment that we are in, I think we need to check it out. Yeah. Thank you, Caroline, for the question. Yeah.
We have Soumya Ranjit asking, hi doc, this is Soumya from Elders Heaven. What do you suggest to improve the immunity?
Soumya, hi. It's a long time I heard from you. I hope everybody's okay in Elderly Heaven. Soumya, I just answered this question a couple of times. Eat well, balanced food, good sleep, good intake of water, one multivitamin. But I think the most important thing is good amount of protein intake, good amount of fluid intake, and good sleep is thing. Yeah. There are no magic tablets that we have. If we have one, I'm sure we will let you know.
She has another question. Do you suggest taking new admission in care homes? If yes, what are the safety measures do you suggest to keep the other residents safe? And asking to get a COVID test done before admission will really help. Will that really help?
I think that's a very relevant question, Soumya, because you run a home. Yeah, I mean, if somebody has to come into a home, in this crisis situation, I think it's one of those things that you can look into. But what you can do is you can ask them to check for 14 days before coming in. Do they have any fever and things like that? Can you get a COVID test before that? No, it's not licensed to do a COVID test before you go into a care home. That's not in this part of the world. But I think you need to go by what they say. But what you can do is once they come into your home, keep them in a separate isolated place. If you feel they have any symptoms or could have been a possibility, make sure agree to agree. Sometimes agree to disagree. Yes, we don't fit on these things, how to start. But there's always ways to change, adapt, look at things from a new perspective, and see how we can move forward. But also this has brought this question into focus for a lot of couples. They never talked about it, but this made them to talk about it. And also, as I said, in Europe, a lot of people start questioning, is there a God? Do we need a God? And we thought our medical facility is foolproof. North Italy has one of the best medical centers in the world. But suddenly we realized, oh my God, they were all bewildered. How can that be? So it's all across the board. But I think a lot of older couples, who are not being compatible, I think they should work on what they could see the convergence, take small little steps. They can't resolve everything, but at least agree to disagree and say how things are and move forward. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from Wilbert Valence. He says, sir, few tips on using masks, please.
Well, Wilbert, thanks for the question. Masks are here to stay, Mr. Wilbert. I think choose the right mask. If you are working in a medical line, we are told to wear N95 mask, which is the best mask. but you could wear a cloth mask. You have to wear a mask, but I think you should feel. I can't use the word comfortable. You should feel at least not choking with a mask. Don't tie it too tight to your neck and things like that. But I think a lot of people are doing designer masks with stretching. So I think you can improvise on the mask. Human behaviors is amazing. They can improvise. They can modify and things like that. So, but masks you have to wear. So I think that's something that you need to. Yeah.
Okay. We have Mr. M. Bhaskar asking you, two medicines are not available here, another company is available. Shall we continue the same medicines?
Mr. Bhaskar, yes, please do. I think some people are not stocking it. There's a problem of transport, of manufacture as well. Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay. We have Mr. Arun Gowda asking you, hi doctor, what diet do you suggest for elderly adults?
Well, I think eat a lot of proteins, drink a lot of water, sleep on time, wake up on time, get yourself a good amount of fluids, and also take one multivitamin and a balanced diet. I think a lot of if you can get the veggies on the plate, that's good. Yeah.
Still typing the questions. So, okay. We've also seen there's been a quite challenge bringing up and handling school-going children because the school has been shut and it's going to be shut for some more time. So, children also have seemed to be affected by this. So, what are the do's and don'ts for the parents?
I think this is something that's not being talked about, at least in my circles. I think it's very important that you talk to children about the fears and apprehensions they're going through. They may not talk about it. One of the things COVID has done is suddenly when children used to go to school, the son used to go to work, the daughter-in-law also used to go to work. Suddenly everybody is there at home, stepping into one of the stores, and the children are full of energy, they want to do, and the grandparents are not able to manage thing, and a lot of them are working from home, they don't want to be distracted. So a lot of things going on. I think you need to find your own space, a bit of me time, just to sit down, get your head space around, keep your time quiet, rewind and unwind to see how, otherwise you'll be snappy, you'll be irritable, you'll be on one of the stores. So, but yes, children are going to be there. I think more than physical scars and the bruises, we're going to have a lot of issues about mental health, about loneliness and depression that's going to come. Yeah, I think a lot of things will come up here, even among doctors, even among professionals, even among other people. So we're on the front line.
We have Soumya Ranjit asking you, how does private hospitals take admission in case of people with chest congestion or breathlessness? In such cases, do you suggest them to bring to hospital or to treat in care home with the doctor's advice?
Soumya, thank you for this question. I can tell you about what Baptist does. If you come in with a chest condition and breathlessness, we will check whether it is COVID-like or non-COVID-like. If you are non-COVID-like, we'll treat you and keep you. But I can't speak about the other private hospitals, but they should provide necessary care, necessary emergency care. And the second part of the question, I missed it.
Sorry.
Okay.
In such cases, do you suggest them?
As I told you, if you think there is an emergency, if somebody is breathless, somebody needs medical help, please do come. Don't hold on. We would rather treat you early, but if you can sort out by talking to a doctor, reach out to him and tell him what's going on, that will be ideal. But sometimes we can't get the ideal situation. So if they are breathless, if they're not well, please reach out. Okay. In Baptist, we do take patients who are normal chest condition, an asthma attack can give you the chest condition and breathlessness. It may not be COVID at all. But in the light of COVID, people will look through the COVID angle to make sure that it's not COVID. So just bear with us. They may ask you some few extra questions and things like that.
Okay, since they still ask the question. So, this is not regarding this, but I've personally spoken to a sister or a nurse working somewhere, and she's told me how she's been ill-treated or harassed by the house owners or the apartment she lives in, and that they look at her differently because she comes from a hospital. So how should people change their attitude towards this?
I think you brought out a very important question. Before I say anything, I just want to salute all the nurses, the frontline workers, the policemen, the dinner man who gets and the nursing aide lady who cleans all the floor, and the doctors. Amazing. What a contrast. In the Western world, they clap, they appreciate But in this part of the world, doctors are treated with suspicion, and as you mentioned to you, the nurses are treated with suspicion. In fact, a lot of people stop talking to doctors, and topic start coming to home. We are fighting for you. We are in the front line. We want to do the job. We want to do the job well for you and look after you. I think you should be, even if you don't thank us, don't humiliate us, don't hurt us, don't ostracize us. Okay? I think basically this all stems from misinformation, not knowing what it is. Now we take extreme care not to bring COVID-19 in any way to our family members or to spread to one another. Okay, so we take extreme care. Okay, so obviously we won't give it to you. You know, so even if we have even the slightest hint of it, we get it tested. Okay, so I think the attitude changes only when you know the real situation. You have a proper knowledge of the thing. It is basically driven by unnecessary WhatsApp messages, and also some communities have been affected, ostracized, have been looked down upon because there was a collection of cases inside the community. It does not help. It doesn't help. One of the things COVID has taught is that we are in this together. We all need to hold our hands together. Only then, together, we'll come through. Only together.
We have a next question from Uma Nair. How many hours of sleep, doctor, afternoon nap allowed?
Oh my God, what a wonderful question, Mrs. Uma Nair. Well, I would say have a stretch your legs for just an hour, not more than that. The reason is that you may not be able to sleep at night. Just stretch your legs so that you recharge your batteries and things like that. And so you're so privileged to have a nap, so go for it and have a 1 hour nap and enjoy it.
Okay, she also is asking sleeplessness at night, what to do?
Well, I think it's a I don't know, I don't think it's, I hope it's not just COVID related sleeplessness, or is sleeplessness already there. It's very simple. If you're going to rest and sleep in the daytime, you're not going to sleep in the night because your brain had enough and more rest. And also in this time, you're not going to exercise, you're not going to walking around, so your body is not tired, it's not being used up. So I think you need to make sure that you don't sleep in the daytime, you don't sleep and watch telly and sleep in front of the telly. You go to bed at a particular time, have a proper sleep hygiene. Don't watch news after 6 o'clock. Listen to something very peaceful and nice. Don't have any sort of sensitive conversation. Keep your mind calm and go to bed and follow that. I'm sure the sleep will sort of, you'll fall into sleep, yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Grace Sangeeta. Doc, is it safe to go out for walks during this time?
Well, I think, will I go out for a walk at this time? No, because we don't know who's around. You may wear a mask, you may try to do, person who's running next to you may not have wearing a mask. We know very well this virus spread through droplets, and many times they don't need to cough and sneeze. Even if they speak loudly, these droplets can come out. It's not safe, Grace, but I think you can walk in your corridor or in your space. You know, I would not, if I were to be you, I would not go out for a walk. You know, let's put it that way. But walking is good. Please walk 5 minutes every 1 hour, 10 minutes every hour if you can. 30 minutes walk within your space that you can get it. Yeah.
Okay, we apologize for the sound issues. We will fix it for the next live. Thank you.
You have a question?
Okay. The other thing I would want you to talk about is the younger chaps are more blasé about the pandemic that's going on. So considering their own immunity and their strength, they don't realize that they're probably bringing it back home. So how can we educate them or make them aware of the situation?
Yeah, I think initially there was misinformation that only older people are going to be affected, and think the younger people can just get away with it and they can do what they want to do because immunity will protect them. But that's not the case. In certain countries, a significant proportion of younger people have also been affected, and as you rightly mentioned, a lot of people may carry this bug without having any symptom, and they can spread to the parents. I think whether you're young or old or anybody above 5 years, you need to wear a mask. Protect yourself, follow the necessary precautions, wash your hand, not to touch your face and oral cavity. So I think these instructions are very much valid. You may get away with it, but your parents may not get away with it. So I think if you truly love your parents and your family, do the necessary protection, and don't be so confident that you'll get through it. A lot of my friends who are marathon runners had COVID, and they said it's a horrible experience and they would not wish it for anybody. So it's not what we thought was just a flu, it was horrible. So it's not worth taking that risk.
You've mentioned this earlier, so you feel like people's view towards life has changed after this pandemic because of the hardships that they faced or because they've got time to reevaluate. Do you think this is here to stay, or once, I'm not saying that COVID is going to go away, but maybe once it's eased down and everyone's settled with the fact that we are going to live with COVID, are they going to go back to their old habits?
Well, I hope not, but I mean, it looks like, yes, when I say men, generic word, when individuals start realizing that they're vulnerable and the mortality is real, suddenly people start asking searching questions and about the transcendence, about God and things like that. A lot of them were on the knees, but they didn't look up. But I think one of the things that we should not forget from this COVID experience is what it has done to us. What it has taught us that we reacted as countries in a very in a very isolated way. It was not a joined up approach. They created more fear than light. There was no clear advice given from one reputed agency that we could follow. A lot of people telling different things, and also, as you rightly mentioned, and people start questioning about life. And a lot of my people whom I know in the UK started doing wills to see what's going to happen. Things that is real. They had a real fear. But look, this is something more than what we see, what the eyes can see. I mean, there is a transcendence, and there is a question that you need to ask. What's life all about, and whether COVID going to take you, not going to take you. I hope it will help you to reflect on that deeper questions about where did you come from, where are you going, what's the purpose of my life. A lot of people asking this purpose question. What's my purpose of my life? So a lot of them have to reset the buttons and review a lot of things. So that's a good thing. I hope it is here to stay. But I think COVID is going to leave a lot of scars. It's just not going to go away. And so people will, I hope that thing. But human beings are human. We sort of, we don't learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. I hope we'll reflect on this and then sort of think. But definitely it has changed my thing, and also I can speak about people around me. People have changed. People have looked at life from a totally different perspective.
We have Mr. Srinath Rao asking you, my mother-in-law is feeling sleeplessness. How can she overcome this? Please advise us.
Okay, so she's feeling sleepless. I'm not sure, Mr. Rao, whether your mother is sleeping in the daytime. Is it the medication? Is it the change of sleep pattern that is causing sleeplessness? I think we need to, as I mentioned to you for the previous question, that you need to have a proper regime. Go back to sleep at a certain time. Have a sleep hygiene. Always don't take coffee or tea after 6 o'clock. Don't drink water after 8 o'clock. So you use the restroom by 10 o'clock and just go to bed. So you don't need to be awake because of going to the restroom. So I think if you follow basic things, don't watch news. Keep it very simple and pleasant in the evenings before you go to bed. Read something or listen to something which is very mild and soothing, and that will help you to go through thing. So, but we need to check whether it's a medication or anything else that is causing this problem. Yes, Dr. Priyashi, you exhausted all the questions?
I sort of have exhausted all my questions, but we have someone asking you something.
Well, I think let me sort of focus, bring everything. We said a lot of things, we spoke a lot of things. What is that the older person should do? What the older person should do is that have a proper sleep regime, have a proper dietary habit, have a balanced diet, drink enough water, make sure that your bloods are checked at regular intervals, make sure that you get your sleeping pattern right, okay, and try to improvise with what you have. Get back to old habits. You may have a lot of talent that you have not used it, you didn't have the time, so now it's time for you to go back to use this. And and also reach out to friends and sort of reconnect with people that you couldn't connect. So a lot of things can be looked in the positive realm, and I'm so happy that a lot of people are doing Zoom calls, Zoom meetings. So get into the group, form new groups, get connected with the local groups. So these are the things that they need to do. Yeah.
In that same context, there are a lot of people living with family, one of them suffering with a psychiatric illness. So that's a challenge for them.
That's a challenge. I think you brought out a very important issue about mental health. This has thrown a big challenge for people with mental health, especially people who have a psychotic disease or a depression, things like that. First of all, it's very hard, and this has brought in fear, anxiety, and things like that. What you need to do is to give them as much as positive vibe around them. Make sure they take the medications on time. When they watch a TV, they may take a totally different message. So contextualize the message to them, saying that this is what is happening here, but we are pretty much doing what we should be doing. Most is talking, be a soundboard that they can talk about. I think this is very important to talk and let them sort of reflect and get it out chest. At least they know they're not going to bed thinking, oh, COVID is coming, things like that. So I think those things, but it's a huge challenge. But I think making sure the medication, a lot of people are not able to get the medication, so you take the medications on time and talking to them, creating a positive vibe, engaging with them. I think that's the most important thing. We need to adapt, people around them should adapt to sort of make sure that they are comfortable, sort of improvise and things like that.
So we have Ms. Grace Sangeeta asking you, is it safe to sit in the balcony?
Well, if you have a balcony, please enjoy a good coffee and all the birds chirping there. So please do enjoy. Yeah.
We have Fortune Eben Lilavati asking you, thank you Dr. Dominic for the guidance, words of encouragement and information. Happy to see you and hear you.
Thank you, Fortune. It's happy to hear from you, and so I hope you're keeping safe. And it's always my pleasure to reach out to talk to people. And I think we are all in this together. We just need to hold our hands together, and that's the only way that we're going to pull ourselves up. And eventually, looking back, we'll come out victorious, and we'll come out well. Not because the doctors are good, the medicines are good. It's just because the good Lord is still sovereign, is still holding it, is still in control. I think that's what gives me the utmost peace and utmost confidence that it's the sovereign Lord who is in control of everything. So I think we all need to get together and sort of do the things that we need to do. I think I just want to say to all the viewers, thank you for watching and asking questions. And I'll come again with a new topic in the Facebook Live if that's the demand. And obviously we are limited by time, and we can go on talking about it. But I think I just want to reinforce the important tips of how to go about your thing. Improvise, change, adapt. Human beings are amazing. You may be 70, 80, 90, but you can still adapt. Your brains are still adaptable, changeable, and make a virtue of the necessity that you are in. Whatever situation you're in, look at the bright side of it, and have a wonderful evening. And thank you, Dr. Priyasha, for the questions, and thank you for the boys for organizing all this, and good to stay connected, and stay safe and stay connected. Thank you very much.